Hello, my walking friends, and how are we doing today? I hope today, this beautiful sunny day that's almost blinding me, finds you doing spectacularly well. Even though there's terrible, horrible things going on in the news, I thought I would lighten the mood by telling you about experiences I had when I was a paranormal investigator when I lived in Yakima for a paranormal agency called CWP Investigations, which stood for Central Washington Paranormal Investigations. So I'm going to tell you about a place that we went to called the Rosedale Mansion. And I'm going to tell you the history and about what it is today. And then I'll tell you about some of the things that I personally had happen to me. And you can tell me if you feel that it was paranormal or just coincidental. So let's get started, shall we? Rosedale Mansion is located at 1811 West Yakima Avenue in Yakima, Washington, in the Barge Chestnut neighborhood. It's a 9,600 square foot, 100-year-old mansion. It was built by A.E. Larson, a prominent Yakima, Washington businessman who also built the somewhat skyscraper building known as the Larson Building. The Larson Mansion build started in 1904 and ended in 1909 with a carriage house freestanding from the mansion. This mansion is spectacularly beautiful. The house was christened with the name Rosedale, which A.E. Larson named after his wife, whose name was Rose. The finished home includes a ballroom, many bedrooms, I believe there's 8 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, servants' quarters, a huge dining room, a parlor, basement kitchen, butler's pantry, that was 3 bathrooms, a full attic, and more. When you walk up on the outside, you see large white columns which support the front wraparound porch and a stone turret. Larson paid $50,000 for the mansion to be built and the property surrounding the mansion, which I believe is on like 1.2 or 2.1 acres of land. I can't remember specifically. Which in today's currency, that would range to $1.2 to $2 million. The Larson family lived in the property until 1945 when Rose Larson passed away at home. At that time, the mansion and grounds were willed to the city of Yakima for the main purpose of turning it into an art gallery for the city. But the city sold the Rosedale Mansion and used the money to create the Larson Art Gallery at Yakima Valley Community College. After the house ended up for auction due to foreclosure, a couple in Yakima bought Rosedale and decided to update the mansion and turn it into Rosedale Bed and Breakfast, which opened its doors in 2009. Though they've been doing well with their bed and breakfast, they decided that they wanted to move on to different ventures, so it is currently up for sale at $1.75 million. This house is spectacular. It's got all new updated kitchen with stainless steel appliances. It's got the original freezer box and the original refrigerator that's electric, but it looks like wood cabinets with the brass handles that you open up and they swing open, and that's the fridge. It's got just beautiful room, and when you go up to the attic and you look out, you can see all of Yakima from the attic, and it's a beautiful view. Their bedrooms there's a different color for each bedroom, And like there's a green bedroom, a red bedroom, a white bedroom, a pink bedroom, a blue bedroom, so many different bedrooms. And in the carriage house, they actually converted the top part of the carriage house into a guest quarters for people to stay as well. And from what I understood from watching the video that the realtor put out, the guest quarters has 2 to 3 bedrooms. I'm not exactly sure, and it's got a fully updated, modernized kitchen and so forth. The house, the mansion itself has 2 washers, 2 dryers, and it's got a basement, 2 floors, the main floor, the upstairs, and then it's got a full attic. When I was a paranormal investigator, we decided and contacted the owner, the current owner of the house, to see if we could do an investigation there. And she was like, sure, you can do one, just as long as I don't have any guests. And she found a weekend that she didn't have any guests and allowed us to come in and do an investigation. My personal part in this investigation, I went into the carriage house, which at the time was unfinished, and it was just spooky. It was so spooky. There was graffiti on the walls. There were like upside down crosses painted on the walls by people that had lived there beforehand, which I actually knew the people that had taken ownership beforehand, and the house went into foreclosure under them. It was rumored that they had had parties in the carriage house, that the teenagers had had parties in the carriage house, and that they used a Ouija board. And Ouija boards, let me tell you folks, do not use Ouija boards. Ouija boards, in my opinion, are the product of the devil. What happens with a Ouija board is you open a portal to the spiritual realm, and anything can come through, whether it be a good spirit or a negative spirit. And unless you know what you're doing, you can call negative spirits through it. And then if you don't properly close that spiritual door, then it leaves the door open for other spirits to come on through, whether you're there or not. And in my opinion, that's what happened. Though I do know that there are good spirits in the Rosedale mansion, I don't know about negative spirits per se. There had been mentioned by other members of my investigation group that one of my co-investigators had actually gotten hurt investigating the carriage house. Something pushed her and she fell and scraped up her leg pretty bad. And I believe she had to get a tetanus shot because of how old the rusty nail was that she scraped her leg on. But this house is just magnificent. I would definitely, if it stays open as a bed and breakfast, I would definitely suggest you take the time and book a weekend and go stay there. Now, what I personally went through was I went to the attic by myself, and we had a camera crew, but I was the only investigator there. There was a camera crew there. They were filming a documentary on our investigation team, and I went up to the attic with the camera crew, and I had my EVP monitor, which is a little tape recorder, sitting next to me on the windowsill. And I looked out and I just said to myself, wow, that's a beautiful view. And when you played back my conversation there where I said that to myself, there was a nice older gentlemanly voice that said, yes, it was breathtaking. And to me, I feel that that was the voice of A.E. Larson. And I was actually confirmed that when I said, "Is A.E. Larson here with us?" And the voice said, "Yes, I'm right here." Now, spirits have a tendency to try to trick people, and I understand that, but I'm a firm believer that that was A.E. Larson, and I just know in my heart of hearts that A.E. Larson was there with me that night. We also had the opportunity to stay the night in the Rosedale mansion to see if anything happened in the middle of the night. Now, see, I'm one of these people that when I sleep, I can't sleep with socks on. And if I fall asleep with socks on, I kick them off during the night. It's something I've always done. You can ask my mother, you can ask my husband. I just can't handle to wear socks when I'm sleeping. My feet get too hot and it gets too uncomfortable. And if I wear socks, especially if it's warm outside, I'll get overheated and I'll end up not being able to sleep, or I'll kick them off. And that night I was wearing socks, pretty long tube socks, and I worked them off my feet in the middle of the night, and I kicked them onto the floor. And when I woke up the next morning, my socks were neatly folded, laying on the dresser clear across the room. And my brother was also staying in the room adjoining mine. And I went into his room and I woke him up and I said, "Did you pick up my socks in the middle of the night and fold them and put them on the dresser?" And he goes, "Hell no, I didn't touch your stinky socks. Why would I touch your stinky socks?" And I said, "Okay, I was just wondering." And he's like, "Maybe it was Rose." And, maybe it was. Maybe it was Rose Larson. Maybe it was one of their servants. Maybe it was somebody. I even asked the owner of the bed and breakfast if she had gone in when she woke up that morning, because she woke up before we did, and asked her if she had found my socks and folded them and put them on the dresser, and she said no. She said that in the room that I slept in, people have had that happen before, where they'll just throw their clothes if they change in the middle of the night on the floor, and when they wake up the next morning, they'll be neatly folded in the chair by the bed. And in another room, another co-investigator had a situation happen where he was woken up feeling as if somebody was staring at him. He fell back asleep, and then he woke up and it felt as if somebody was tapping him on the shoulder. So, do I believe that Rosedale Mansion is haunted? Definitely a possibility. Do I think that it's bad, negative spirits or negative energy? Not necessarily. Definitely not necessarily. It could definitely be good energy. It could be ghosts that are just there to be helpful with the bed and breakfast. It could be Rose and A.E. Larson. Which I think A.E., if I remember right, and I may be wrong. If anybody knows who I'm talking about and I'm wrong, could you please leave a comment below correcting me? But I believe his name was Albert Edward, and that's what A.E. stood for. But like I said, I could be wrong. But for a very prominent businessman as he was, to have such a beautiful house, and can you believe that mansion, that beautiful, beautiful mansion? And since I don't know how to edit these yet, and I'm still trying to figure that out, so I don't know how to post pictures. If you want to look it up online, it's Rosedale, Rosedell Mansion in Yakima, Yakima, Washington, and you can look it up and look at pictures of it, and it is just absolutely breathtaking. But for $50,000, talks about how high inflation is and how high the currency rate changes, because now they're selling it for $1.75 million. And it's got just this beautiful wraparound porch that one bedroom has the door that opens to it, I think. I think it's just one bedroom has the door that opens to the porch. I could be wrong about that. And a ballroom. They have beautiful antiques inside this bed and breakfast. And honestly, there have been visitors from all over the world. In each room, there's a travel journal where people that stay there write their experiences and how wonderful of a time they had in there. Or some of them have even written about feeling as if there's a paranormal presence in there. And I was reading through the travel journal, and in the one that was in the room I stayed in, there were people from Norway, there were people from Switzerland, there were people from India. So people from all over the world visit Rosedale Mansion, and it's surprising to me just how beautiful this place is. Also, I'll tell you a little bit about just a little snippet about another investigation that my brother and I did by ourselves. And I'll do more research and go into it more in depth at a later time. But there's a cemetery up in Cowichy, Washington, and he and I went to this cemetery, and we had what's called a ghost box. We had our EVPs, and we had a couple other equipment with us. We had 35 millimeter cameras, because honestly 35 millimeter digital cameras pick up paranormal activity, and 35 millimeter manual cameras pick up really good paranormal activity versus like those digital cameras. Digital cameras do good, but 35 millimeters do much better with actual rolls of film. But we went up to the cemetery and we took some Barbie dolls with us. And on this headstone of this little girl, we placed 2 Barbie dolls laying down on their backs and told the little girls that those dolls were there for them to play with, and that we were going to go walk around and they could play with the Barbie dolls if they wanted to. If not, that was okay. And we did. We walked around for a good hour and a half, and we were the only ones there. It's very isolated area. Not very many people know where it is. I never even knew it existed. And it's overgrown. Nobody takes care of this cemetery. And when we came back, the Barbie dolls were in sitting position, sitting on this headstone, leaning, with the backs leaning against the headstone itself. So that was kind of cool. And then we were able to get some EVP, which means electric or electronic voice phenomenon. We were able to get some EVP conversations going in that cemetery. We were able to use the ghost box, which is a box that sends out like white noise, and ghosts can communicate from white noise better than they can, and you can hear them clearly. And you would ask them like, how did you die? And one of them said shot with bullet, and another one was hanged. And there was a truck driver there that he had requested to be buried there in the last, I'd say, 20 years. And we asked him, how did he die? And he said, natural. And I believe it was a natural death. It wasn't anything malicious or malice behind it. So it's very interesting, the things that you can do. So that's all I have to say today about my experiences as being an investigator for a paranormal group. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to ask me in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. And if you have any comments about things that you've seen or heard, or if you've ever been somewhere and experienced some paranormal activity, please leave it in the comment below. I'd love to know about the experiences that you've heard or seen. And sorry I missed the other day. I was struggling for a topic to do, and then I remembered that night, actually, of the day I was supposed to post video, I remembered, oh, I used to be a paranormal investigator. I should look up the Rosedale Mansion and talk about that. So I spent yesterday doing research and found out all that information and watched the realtor video. There's an actual video that the realtor put out there for you to watch. And it's a very interesting video because you get to go on a tour of the house and see just how beautiful and magnificent this house is. So if you search Rosedale Manor, and there will be a Facebook link, you can go on the Facebook page for it and scroll down, and you'll be able to find that video put on by, I think her name was Amy Mabe, is the realtor that's in charge of selling the house. I think that's what her name was. So as always, if you liked my video, hit the like button. If you're not yet subscribed to my videos, please hit the subscribe button and watch my past videos. You might actually be interested to see what I have to say. If you are a walker and you enjoy the fact that I walk and talk at the same time, I can't walk, talk, chew gum, and make videos at the same time though. Talk to me. Tell me how you're doing. How's your day going? How are your steps doing? Are you getting in all your steps? I know I am. Though I do notice my Fitbit and my pedometer do not have the same count of steps on them. And I think it's because the Fitbit goes by the swing of the arms and the pedometer goes by the actual feeling of the feet hitting the ground. So I think the pedometer is more accurate than the Fitbit. At least that's what I would like to think, because my Fitbit's always about 500 steps more than what my pedometer is always 500 steps more than what my Fitbit says. So I would like to think that, because I don't swing my arms when I walk. I know a lot of people do. I just don't. It makes me feel like I'm going to fall over. So if you have an idea of what you would like me to talk about next, let me know. If you have any story ideas, let me know. If you want to know any true crime cases, let me know, and I will research the heck out of it, and we will do a true crime video about it. Or even if you want to do a paranormal case, let me know, and I will research the heck out of it. So let me know what you think. And I will see you, let's see, today is Wednesday. I will see you Friday. I hope you have a great couple of days. I hope you get your steps in. And I hope you don't listen to the news too much. The news is really scary right now with what's going on in Afghanistan. Though I'm happy our troops came home, I'm really worried about the people of Afghanistan and what they're going to be going through. So let me know what you're thinking, and I hope you have a great and wonderful couple of days. Love you guys. Bye.